Accidentally hit spacebar on OBS, sadly. You might get a bit of a cut there with stuff. So let's get into it. So my journey so far into games. My name's Elliot, EMC 3D online. Currently working in games as a lighting artist, but I've worked in the games industry before for a few years as an environment artist or an outsource artist. Usually within an environment art role. I'm not a character artist, not an animator, anything like that. I also worked in games academia for 6 years. So I was a course leader, lecturer, senior lecturer, then course leader of the games art course at Staffordshire University, which was the #1 ranked school in the UK from the rookies for last year, 2023. Worked for a big course there and worked with a lot of awesome people to sort of achieve the success that the school had, at the time. Currently working remotely for a game studio. Loving that after commuting for most of my career. This working remote is quite nice because I live in a village. Really love to share knowledge, learn knowledge. That's why I do the YouTube. That's why I have the resource list, the games lighting artist resource list with salaries on, resources guides. I love to talk to people about lighting and games. And that's why I like to do the portfolio reviews. And that's why I like to do this stuff, put lectures on there. Because if it reaches 100 people, I'm super happy. I had classes, and a big class for me was 40 people in one room. So when a video reaches 100 people, that's all I can ask for. It's good stuff. And we're always progressing. I'm progressing. Your favorite artist and inspiration is progressing. The masters are progressing. We're climbing that mountain together and slowly building up the skills that we need to go in. So, no one knows everything, which is the beautiful thing about the games industry and all of its specialist roles as well. Education, started at Burton College, did a course in games, media, used Lightwave to model. Most of you watching this are not going to remember Lightwave. It was the 3D modeling program before we moved to Maya. That was at Burton College, terrible at 3D. Didn't want to do it at all, couldn't get to grips with it, nothing made sense. And towards the end of the course, the 2 years Burton College course, I was getting kind of decent at it for the level of a college student. And then I started to believe that I could do it. So it took a year and a half of not knowing, just bashing my head against a wall of 3D to finally start getting somewhere and enjoy it. Went to Derby University after that, through clearing. That's where I did a bulk of my initial learning. Obviously, games courses in 2008, very different to what they are now, especially with what's being taught and skill set. So at the university, I was able to get enough of a base level, very rough, but enough of a base level to get a job in games from that. In 2015, went back into education. I've gone in and out of games depending on layoffs, which is very common in games, which can displace people, and it displaced me for a very long time between jobs. So I did go back to university to get a master's. And then after that, I was either going to teach or get back into games. So I applied for both teaching and games jobs. And I was lucky enough to get a full-time job at Staffordshire University. And that was from 2017 to 2023 before, again, I re-entered the industry, this time as a lighting artist. Very bad at 3D in college. Started to enjoy it more. Grades got better. Got into university. Built up the momentum to get a junior quality. Very rough around the edges, but just enough to get paid. And that was at Outso, Lockwood Publishing. They made PlayStation Home stuff, which most of you probably won't remember. It was like Second Life, but for PlayStation. And this was some of the stuff we worked on. So we would get stuff like the Uncharted art from Naughty Dog, and we would have to lower the poly counts and reapply the textures and redress them for PlayStation Home, and other stuff where we made more of a unique stuff like Mercia. Very fun job, very fast job in terms of PlayStation Home spaces, 2-3 months at a time and you're done. It was I was there for about 10 months, I think. And it was good. It was fun stuff. I'm very thankful to all the jobs I've had, no matter what quality of game they put out, because the memories are a very nice experience as well of working with people. Won a college award for most improved student, which is awesome. but it means I was very potato. So when you're very potato, it's quite easy to win the most improved student of the student award of the course. So yeah, if I can get into the industry, being so unnaturally talented at it, there's hope. Games started on PlayStation Home, worked on 007 Legends, which again, studio closed after that. Still very proud of working on it because of the memories I made, but let's not make it any sort of mistake. Very potato game overall. And then worked on VR Worlds for Sony London, which is now closed, which is very sad to hear. And then currently working on Until Dawn, the remaster, whatever you want to call it. So I can't talk about that, but these are the dates of the other games that I worked on. So yeah, still early in my games career, even though I've been around a while. Still got a lot to learn. Still got many more years to get in the games industry before I can feel that I can reach. I don't think I'll ever reach the level in terms of feeling that I'm ready, but I've been in and out of the industry across many years, but not in the industry that long. I think it's 4 years at this stage, so it's a bit of it's like jumping in time, like Captain America. Work a year in games, freeze, go back to 2016. Remember working on these games. There was no PBR here. Started using PBR in 2016, using the Don't Nod chart, the Don't Nod charts for PBR, and then Substance really started to pick up. So yeah, seeing a few different generations of console, as you can imagine. Current portfolio, a lot of this work is about a year old now, except for maybe this, more to come. But yeah, that's how my portfolio generally looks. It's all lighting based, other than this 3D modeling stuff, and then some stuff around here. So game art career pathways. Enough about me. You want to get into the games industry. What are the pathways at a high level? Because there's many jobs in the games industry, many specialisms of specialisms. But if I had to cover the main ones that you're going to learn at a university or a games art school, it would be these ones, in my humble opinion. So games, I always say this when I used to do open days for teaching. The games industry roles, they're like a RPG skill tree. You can pick and choose your passives, which is your creative ability. Pick and choose your specialisms, which is your active skill set. So if you're doing, lighting, characters, weapons, environments, and then in those roles, you can specialize even more. It's not an exaggeration for me to say it's like a path of exile tree. There's so many skills. As you learn those skills, you're going to build up passives. Those passives are your core skills. The one thing that's really hard to measure is your natural eye. So your eye over time builds up to building stuff that looks cool. You know when stuff looks cool because you're so used to looking. It's like, this looks cool, but then this doesn't look as cool. It's hard to describe what it is, but every time you do a piece of work, your natural creative eye is going up. Your taste, your taste for art and having good taste goes up, and you can only achieve that by doing work, failing, going through trials and tribulations of the work you're doing. And as you go along, year by year by year by year, that natural eye where you see an image and you think, yeah, I can make this look a certain way, that is what goes up along your active skill sets. Learning how to do the technical stuff that's related to your job, such as 3D modeling, texturing, baking, whatever it may be to realize a games artist role. And we call this T-shaped, a T-shaped person. So if you imagine standing up and lifting your arms out in a T-shape, your height, so from your feet to your head, is the sort of deep knowledge of what you're doing. And we'll get into the roles of what deep knowledge you can get, but that could be, for example, being a character artist. And then the width of your arms, span to span, is your broad skills. So you may have specialist skills in a certain role when you train for games, but your broad skills is being good to work with as a person, being good to work with in a team, having basic art fundamental ability so that you can communicate and visualize your ideas when you're working on a game. Stuff that you might not dive into deep because, your specialism is the deep knowledge, but stuff that you can have a little bit of skill in each one to make your job, make you be more effective at your job, essentially. That's what it kind of looks like. So your specialism, which you will choose at a university once you do your second year onwards at a games art school, you start to specialize. But as you do all the modules on your course, you will learn to build up a breadth of knowledge and experience, soft skills and hard skills. Soft skills is obviously could be like public speaking, or being good to work with in a team, being able to schedule yourself tasks, admin, basic art ability to break down and research, and then obviously your depth is all the skills needed to be good at your specialist job. So the main specialist roles that most games art schools are going to be based around are, I call them the big three. There's many more that span on from this and go deep. For example, you can go deep into environment art and get different job specialisms within that. But for the sake of simplicity, especially because you're going to be so early on in your journey of understanding what you could be doing at uni, but also the jobs that are out there, we call them the big three. And this is how most effective courses will be structured in a specialist manner. So those are environment artist, character artist, and hard surface artist. They do share a lot of the same skills, but when you go deep into the specialisms of them, they have their own deep specialist skills. And you can branch out into many subgenres of these jobs that you go along with. So environment artist is, again, all high-level explanations. They're responsible for the environment, the bigger aspect of the world, the buildings, the floors, the walls, the props, the general world building of the area you're in, making kits of geometry like buildings and walls that snap together like Lego to make virtual worlds. They need to know how to texture, to model, to make props, to blend textures together so that the same texture doesn't look repetitive in a video game, to set dress, to break up these worlds. You need to be able to wear a lot of hats as environment artists, because an environment can have a lot of stuff in it. Cloth, organic, rocks, hard surface, wooden planks. It's a very, very big role. And within that role, there's many sub-roles that are out there. You can focus on doing foliage. You can focus on geology, doing rocks and sculpts. You can focus on buildings. Many sub-roles, which depend on where you work as well. But at a high level, if you want to do the environments, the worlds, environment art is what you want to do. Character art is the opposite. You focus on the character. You don't have to worry about the big, expansive worlds of the environment, of set dressing and, optimizing. You still have to optimize as a character artist, don't get me wrong. But optimizing the whole environment so that it can run. You'll have to optimize your character, but as a character artist, you're working in a lot of time, a singular context. Your focus is this character in its current state and its pose, and how that looks. Now, this job can get very nitty-gritty in terms of photogrammetry. Again, this is more of an advanced concept of photo scanning people in and getting them to, maybe you've got somebody in an army costume and you scan them in for a video game. You scan them in and now they look like a 3D model with a cosplay outfit on. How do you make them look like they're actually meant to belong in a World War II game or something like that? Working with real world scan data, but also being able to sculpt and make digital clay, which is why stuff like life drawing and clay making is incredibly important for character artists, because you have to be able to make props and clothes, and maybe your character has a weapon, or maybe you're dealing with different types of shoes and creatures and humans. It's the toughest job, one of the toughest jobs as well, because we see humans and characters every day. We know when something looks off. We know when something is going into the uncanny valley, we call it. So the job difficulty for this one is very high, but also very rewarding as well. A very high skill ceiling and a rarer job to get into. Not impossible, absolutely not, but rarer to get into versus environment art, where there are more jobs for it because there are bigger game worlds. Whereas character art, there are less jobs out there, in my experience in the UK at least, compared to environment art. But that's my opinion. It's not fact. So yeah, using stuff like ZBrush, modeling in a way the characters can animate without breaking. Again, both technical and artistic aspects to it. Again, lots of sub roles that go into this, but high level sort of stuff only. And then you hard surface artists. So you may think, wouldn't an environment artist make, vehicles and weapons? And they might have a skill set that can address that, sure. And like I say, you can cross over in a lot of these paths. But in terms of job specialisms, usually when we refer to a hard surface artist, we're referring to weapons and vehicles. Now, vehicle artists and weapon artists, they are separate roles, but usually at a games art school, they will come under the banner of a hard surface module. So you might have a module for vehicles and a module for weapons, because they are both different workflows. So the way, usually when you have a hard surface artist, they can make a lot of complex stuff. So usually you see a lot of time you'll see people who are really into airsoft and paintballing, and they know every part of a weapon or a gun or a petrol head, that knows every part of a car, and that absolutely love mechanics of either weapons and vehicles. Those folks are usually, in my experience, the ones that go into that route because they love that sort of stuff. So they can name every part of a weapon, every part of a gun, every part of a car. I can't. All I know is it's got a trigger, some ammo. I'm totally potato at knowing that stuff, but usually you make a lot of complicated modeling that maybe an environment artist wouldn't feel too comfortable making. The really difficult models like engines and complex sci-fi scenery, and vehicles like with lots of curves that need to have perfect reflections. There's a different workflow for both of these, but we put them under the same banner. So yes, that is a job role you go into to focus on hard surface weapons, objects, and vehicles. This job sheet, it doesn't cover every job, but again, it covers a good enough split of the high level jobs in the games industry. So this is a sort of infograph made by Creative Assembly, and it shows the different aspects. So we focus, all of these come together to make a game. If we focus on the art side, you can have your concept artists that make concepts, and 3D artists usually make stuff based off the concept art. But you can see it's got some job roles here, like environment artist, characters, concept, technical artist, all these different roles that, like I say, like an RPG, have different skill trees to get into. And you will learn more about those skill trees at a games art school and the university as you start to build your skills up around basic 3D and making stuff for real-time engines. So for now, I'd focus on the big three that I put in this lecture. And then as you go on and on and on, expand your knowledge of the other roles that exist, because there are many, many, many out there as well, and many workflows for each of these as well. What to look for in a games art school? So games art universities, they come in a lot of shapes and sizes. You can have, like at Staffordshire University where I taught, we had lots of games courses. We had games art, which I was course leader of. We had games design, which was another course leader, games design and programming, games and film, concept art. And some of those would share modules. Games design would share introduction to 3D modeling with games art. And, you share the courses and you share the resources. So you can get courses like that that are very large, and you can get courses that are smaller. It's a single games course in a department. Maybe it's only got 3 or 4 lecturers versus a games art school that has maybe 20, 30 lecturers. So it really depends on the part of the country you're in and the program you're going on, and their selection criteria as well. And some courses will be generalists, so they'll teach you generalist topics to help build you as an artist, and some of them will teach you specialist topics where you can specialize in a job role and specialize in modules across your course to tailor your learning to what you want to do. So if you don't like doing characters, you don't have to pick a character module, whereas other courses may make you take a character art module to get a more fundamental approach to stuff. So those can be the differences in games art courses. Now, my opinion, because I am biased to this as well, so you take this with a grain of salt. An effective games art course for me is structured like this in a 3-year program. In the first year, fundamentals, no specialist stuff, learn to 3D model, do drawing, learn about art direction, life drawing, try to draw from life, breaking any bad habits you might have from any experience you've had before in 3D modeling, learning to see. What does that mean? Learning to break down what you see. So do you see a house? Or do you see a series of walls, floors, ceilings? And then do you see a series of brick, plaster, insulation? Same with like, do you see a gun? Or do you see the parts that make up the gun? Learn to break down visually what you see. And usually you'll break down films, contemporary aesthetics, look at cinematography, maybe photography, a bunch of stuff to start building you as an artist, not just someone that can 3D model, someone that is actually an artist in their skill set. That's what the first year will try to do and set you up with, okay? Once you hit your second year, you should start to specialize. And of course, for me, that is effective in games art, starts to allow you to pick and choose modules. Start to pick and choose your RPG skills. So maybe you can take stylized environment art alongside lighting for games, alongside prop modeling. Or maybe you can take character art with life drawing and then stylized character art and then lighting for games, because they're going to show you how to light characters. So you will have modules that are specialists like character art, environment art, hard surface. And then you'll have these modules that support that, lighting for games, technical art, business development, things like these that really should go along as a side serving to your main specialisms. And that again helps build you as that T-shaped person, but also gives you necessary soft skills to succeed in the industry as well. And third year, more of it, but more advanced. So I believe that you should start specializing for a role in the games industry out based on the big 3 in the second year. Not in the first year. I think that's too early. Second year and third year is what I personally believe. But that is my opinion. If you want to get objective, what are the best schools? I recommend you look at this resource called The Rookies. The Rookies has a judging panel of folks from in the industry, and they will look at a various amount of factors. So how connected to industry is a course? So as a games course, are the lecturers, is the business bringing in games industry mentors, speakers, games industry events where you can get talks from people in the industry? How connected are they, or are they completely insular, not connected at all? A good course will have strong connections to industry, live briefs from game studios, and they will work at doing that because that is key. University is always behind games industry. It's hard to catch up, but the more you connect with industry, that is a good mitigation tool against it as well. So the Rookies will rank all these schools based on that criteria and many, many more. So you can go there and you can find out basically objectively the data behind what are some good schools for you to really consider. Okay? If you go into an open day, ask the following. How connected to industry is your course? Can I specialize on the course from the second year? Do your staff have portfolios I can see? And will the degree get me into industry? So for staff portfolios, the expectation that all of your games teaching staff should be from industry is incorrect. I believe some of the best teachers I've worked with for games art have never come from industry. And some of the worst teachers I've worked with have come from industry. Likewise, you can flip that right around, and that is also true. Being a good teacher does not necessarily mean you need to come from industry. However, a game school should have a mix of academics and people that come from industry to balance out that team loadout. But yes, if you do not have many industry teachers, it does not necessarily mean the course is a no-go. Again, how strong are their links to industry is the key. You want to see if portfolio-wise they're doing stuff. Are they putting out lectures to the public? Are they trying and to keep their skills up to date, or is their ArtStation part of the ship, part of the crew, built into the decking of the ship and not been touched? These are elements you will need to look at, because games also has a lot of ineffective lecturers in it. It's just unfortunate, and it's true. But yeah, you do the best you can. And will the degree get me into industry? So if anyone says yes to this, you have my permission to suplex them, because the degree, the piece of paper you get from a games art course, means very little to nothing. It can get you onto a master's, it can get you into a teaching career eventually, it can get you abroad for a job, but these are all second to a good portfolio. So going through the course, barely passing your modules and not getting the best grades you can, but still passing, is not indicative of you getting a job in the industry. Please keep that in mind. It's a very difficult industry to get into. You have to treat your course extremely seriously and put in the hours necessary, because it's all portfolio based. You're based off a portfolio, you're judged based off a portfolio. No one looks at the degree. Rarely ever gets mentioned. So for 2023, these were the rankings. So the top school overall was New Edge in France. And then the top UK school at 23 Global was Staffordshire University, which is where I taught. Again, Staffordshire University, very strong links to industry. But there's quite a few in the UK that are very good, at least reputation-wise. So Hertfordshire, Staffordshire Uni, DMU in Leicester, and Teesside. I hear good things about all of these. But again, it's really based on what you put in is what you get, because university is a big cost versus self-learning. So you have to make it worth it, otherwise you're in debt. Some advice. So the references to these, please, I've got some images on here. I do have the references in the notes, but because I'm delivering it online, they won't be in the slide. So apologies if you think this has not been referenced, but it has been. So I will see if I can put these in the comments or something. These two images, I usually have my references down here, but can't see them in the video. So apologies if this is your work. I will put the comments in if needed. So basic portfolio advice, use ArtStation. ArtStation, it hasn't got the best reputation, but it's still the standard. Everyone expects to see the ArtStation layout for your work. Post wireframes, breakdowns. So if you're doing 3D, any 3D stuff you're doing, post it. How you're achieving that 3D, post it. We want to see how you're thinking when you enter a games art school. Show block out references, how you're researching about the topic you're doing, and get some real-time stuff in. So Unreal Engine, Unity's cool, CryEngine's cool, anything real-time. You're not just rendering it in Blender or Maya, because this is real-time. This is what we do. We've got to make stuff run in real-time. We're not doing pre-rendered stuff. So show stuff as much as you can in a games engine, and it'll be key. And show breakdowns like this, wireframes, UV layouts, all that sort of stuff, and you'll be good. You can build your proper portfolio after uni, but for just getting into uni, this is what I'd recommend. Any questions, please do ask them in the comments. That's all I got for today. Hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.